I think that we need to learn to tell Washington no. The strings attached, when Governor Perry said no to the $500 million, I don't know how many folks didn't realize we pay about $1.5 billion in employment taxes a year, and we get about $750 million back. That's kind of a lopsided system there. The strings that came with that, with the stimulus money, had to do with unemployment benefits for people that either quit their job or were part-time. Myself as a small business owner, our taxes are going up all the time. Our unemployment taxes are unreal. A few years ago, I was paying 0.1%. It went up to maybe about 0.5%. Now it's about 1.5%. I have friends that are paying over 8% or somewhere around 8%, they've told me, in unemployment taxes. Now that's something that how do you budget for? You don't know when it's coming, but all of a sudden your taxes are going up. It's not helping my employees. They don't get to buy more groceries with that. That's something that's paid by the company. And we have to tell the federal government no. There is nothing that the federal government gives us that they don't take either our money or our liberty from us to give us. And somehow, it's not like a bank where you put in $1 and a year later you get back something greater than $1. You put in $1 and you get something back much smaller than $1 and a bunch of strings. And so we have to say no.
The essence is the Equal Protection Clause, basically, that the founding fathers understood the temptation for some states to dominate over others. And so the essence of the Equal Protection Clause is that the state is sovereign and that y'all will be treated equal. Now, the problem we have with the stimulus money is it comes in and people budget around that stimulus money and then it's gone, but you still have the creative need when you accept it. And that's where the rub is. But I think until we really begin to enforce and to, I think, enforce is probably the best word I can think of our states' rights, and stand up and say, look, are we willing to not take some of this federal money to protect our liberties, to protect ourselves from sanctions, to protect ourselves from mandates that aren't funded but are demanded of us. But the Equal Protection Clause is key. We saw it manifest itself in Nebraska and Louisiana over the health care. That was going to be a loser in the court. It was going to be. And until we stand up in the states, as sovereign states, say, no thank you, we're going to continue the process of
I heard a few weeks ago, now this is concerning education, that there was a panel of parents who studied the textbooks. And I believe it was right here in Texas. They found way over 5,000 errors in these books and were only able to correct a little over 200. Did any of you hear that? And if so, can you comment on that? And then I have another comment.
I believe everybody here would agree that political correctness has brought us down this path where the author of a textbook has no fear of putting something in writing and his name to it as author that's inaccurate, that's wrong. It's historically wrong, it's factually wrong, it's calculated wrong, but they still do it. And the reason is because they're afraid to hurt somebody's feelings. That's political correctness, and I believe that the reason that we had 5,000 errors in the textbook is because of the insidious effects of political correctness in our society. So we have to have the courage to be Texans again. We're going to have to say no. And otherwise, instead of 5,000 errors in the textbook next time around, it's going to be much worse and much harder to correct. So let's let us work, through the Texas legislature, put an end to these types of, we need to legislate it, we need to legislate it. If an author of a textbook puts something in there that is wrong, he needs to be exposed.
Process, and I'm not sure which book you're talking about, but in my previous life on the school board, there was a two-step process basically for any textbook adoption. It came, the State Board of Education had committees that looked at the textbooks, and then they were sent to the local board, and there was committees at the local level that reviewed those books, and they had the option, and they had the ability to accept or reject those books that were presented to them. Now,
It was the state, not.
was it the state?
not-
Okay, so it didn't, had it made it to the local level,
I don't think so.
I don't know what the review process would be, but I can remember times when we had stacks of books when we were going, whether it was art or social studies or whatever. Not only was there a state review a review at the state level, but also one at the local level, and that's where this local control is so key. The local board and the committees therein can reject those and say, this is not appropriate, this is not where we
So
are.
they can send them back.
Absolutely, they're not obligated to accept those on a broad-based fashion.
The main issue here is getting control back to the local area, the classroom. The teachers know what is right and what is not right, and need to be able to teach the student the correct answer. It doesn't do any of us any good to learn 5,000 wrong things. And I think that process is getting the control back to here. Those of us that'll benefit, we want those students to be the best they can be. And I think students, as you go around and look at the schools, and I've read the students and being involved in communities and schools, I get out to different schools and we get a chance to talk to the students and see how they work. Communities and schools is designed to keep kids from dropping out. And that's what we need. We need to keep kids in school, but we need to provide them with a good education. I think teachers want to do it, and there again, local control is how we do it. We don't need Austin telling us how to educate our children. We don't need Washington, D.C. And that's where we need to do is keep it local.